And the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. So be it, Jedi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Thursday night. It's time for the Cantina Happy Hour. I am your host, David. With me, as always, is Debbie.
Hi, guys.
How's it going, Debbie?
Pretty good. It's almost Friday. Woohoo!
Almost Friday. Almost Friday. But that means we won't get another episode of Kenobi until Wednesday.
But we're one day closer.
But And see, this was what I didn't understand. They bumped it from the 25th to the 27th just for that one Friday so they could release 2 episodes. Then they did Wednesday, so we had episode 3. So that, like, within 3-4 days, there was half the series was out.
Mm.
But now it's on Wednesdays, so now I've got to juggle my time between Miss Marvel and Kenobi. It's like,
Exactly.
somebody pick one.
Make up your mind.
put Star Wars on one and Marvel on the other, and we'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well, we are talking about Kenobi's today. Before we get started, I do want to let you know, since we are discussing episode 4 of Kenobi, if you have not seen it yet, there will be spoilers. We're going to be talking about all kinds. I'm sure Debbie has pages of notes of things that she wants. Yep, look at that. Never fails. So we will be talking about spoilers. Also, if you are in the Dallas area and you are going to Fan Expo, not this coming weekend, but next weekend, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, I believe are the exact days, myself and Dave Gramillion are both going to be out at Fan Expo. We're covering it. We'll be there all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be doing some live streams from it. We're going to be chatting with some people, talking with some people, following some people around. We're going to be having a good time. But for you, the fans, if you're in the Dallas area and you want to come hang out with us, we are going to go check out the GNN Facebook page. Just go check out the Facebook page. There's an invite there. If you're in the Dallas area and you want to come hang out and have dinner with us Friday night, come on, we'd love to see you. But that's what I got. So if you're in Dallas on Friday, come see us. Also, Ripped Apparel, rippedapparel.com. Go to rippedapparel.com, order some cool t-shirts, enter the code GNN for 10% off of your order. I've got to do the plugs. Sorry. So, Kenobi. Episode 4. For some reason, and I can't figure out why, I mean, we're more than halfway through this thing now, and this show is getting a lot of hate, and I can't figure out why. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the characters involved. I mean, I personally, and I kind of wish Cam was here. Cam's not here tonight. He had family issues, and that's okay. We forgive him. But I really... this time. But I'm honestly, to me, I'm enjoying this quite a bit, and I haven't really found anything wrong with it. Now, Debbie, you're also on our social media squad at GNN. What do you think? What's going on? Why do we not like this show?
I think possibly a lot of it, and this happens with Marvel fans and probably other fandoms too, where we set our expectations so high. We have this thing in our head where, you know, how we think it's going to go or what we want to happen. And when it doesn't, or it doesn't go exactly how we imagined, then people get pissed off. Because, you know, oh, they're not following
what I wanted it to do. What do they call it? They call it the armchair quarterbacks. That's exactly what it is. Except it's for Star Wars and Marvel and whatever else.
Well, and then there's also, there's a lot of us who are EU fans, expanded universe fans. There's a lot of books and, there's just a lot of things that happen that, I kind of hope for in the sequels, which didn't get, but hey, what are you going to
do? Maybe.
Well,
they're kind of coming. You're getting a little taste of it here and there.
But I think that's probably the biggest problem is, and I'm guilty of it too. I set my expectations super high and I imagine, what's going to happen in my own twisted little brain. And then when it doesn't, I tend to get disappointed or I get pissed off. I've tried to relax on that part of it. I think I've done pretty good. And a lot of people say, well, this series is retconning the originals or whatever.
How?
And, well, there's just so many.
How?
Bad writing, bad actors. I mean, it's just like, well, if you could do better, I'm sure you'd be in the industry, and you're not. So,
armchair quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's also a lot of people who love it. I mean, this episode was not my favorite. One, because it was so freaking short, and two, I there was an eye roll moment that I was just like, "Are you flipping kidding me?"
Was it the fort? That's the one that's been getting everyone that I've seen a lot of online. Is the fortress line? It's an impenetrable fortress. We can't do it. So the first thing that they do is penetrate it.
No, mine was the trench coat.
Oh, that was, yeah.
I was like, really? Hey, come on.
You know what made that even worse was that the third sister came out of the hangar and she started confronting the officer. I can't remember her name, but the
Tala?
rebel, yeah, Tala. She started confronting her, and it was almost like she didn't notice that Kenobi was standing right there. And if you watch it again, go back and watch it again, because when she starts focusing everything on her, saying, "You're a traitor and you did this," he kind of looks at her and he kind of like backs up, kind of like, "I'm going to kind of sneak out this way so you can't see me." And what? How do you not see that? It's a guy in a trench coat.
Yeah, that was yeah. I did a big eye roll on that, and I don't normally do that on shows, but that was a big eye roll. I was like, really? You couldn't come? But how else are you going to get a little girl out without being noticed, I guess?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, with Poe and Finn, it was easy. He's a prisoner. You're a captor. Now with her, it's like very obvious. We're keeping kids as prisoners. Okay.
But they couldn't find a cart that had something over it, and they could have just rolled her out. I mean, it is a hangar bay, so they couldn't find something to put her underneath. And
I guess not. No, that would have made sense. Christopher's in our chat. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Is it so much the acting as much the story and dialogue and design?
What do you mean by design? Because I think it looks pretty good.
I think it looks great.
There's a little CGI issue in this episode with the snowspeeder, but
yeah, that was a little rough. And Kenobi's unshaved face, so out of place. Why? He had a beard. What
it's a scruffy beard. It's not the full beard he had.
He's trying to hide his identity. I get it. Stephanie. But okay, so and another thing I'm seeing too is this was a lot of people are complaining this was a very yeah, there you go. They should have hid Leia the way that BB-8 was hidden in Rise of Skywalker. Put a can over her and say she's a droid.
Exactly. Anything would have been better than the trench coat.
Yeah.
That was just
That
awful.
it. Somebody once showed me. They said you can make yourself a droid costume and it will cost you almost nothing and it looks great. And they got some like boxes and taped him up over his feet, and they got some dryer vents and they rolled them up over his legs, and then they got two Rubbermaid totes and stacked them on top of each other. And then they said, "Look, I'm a power droid." And I was like, "Ha ha! You are!" Wow.
I thought you were going to say it was a gonk.
It is. That's a power droid. Gonk.
Okay.
It's a gonk droid. It's great.
Oh.
It's classic. I'm like, ooh, you need a cheap cosplay. There you go. You walk around looking like a gonk droid and you're fine.
Now, what I did love about the opening scene was Obi-Wan is in the back the tank, and so is Anakin. And it, I don't know about anybody else, but to me, it seemed like they were connected through the Force, because you first see Kenobi kind of twitch his shoulder, then it goes to Anakin, and he does the exact same thing.
It's very back and forth, yeah.
And they're just kind of, they show Kenobi's hand, and then they show Anakin's amputated hand. And I thought that was, they're both kind of thrashing around, and I thought that was great.
That may be why, because he jumps out of the back of the tank early. They're like, "Oh no, don't do it. You still got a few, still got time." That may be why he did that, because he was in a state of relax and calm, and that kind of brought them together in the Force. And he's like, "Oh, if I stay here, he's gonna find out where we are. So I need to
that." I think it kind of freaked him out a bit that they were so connected through the Force in that bacta tank. But it's kind of like a sensory deprivation tank, and so I assume it would really concentrate that, or really amplify that Force connection, and it probably freaked the hell out of him. So I can see why he came out of that tank so fast, because I seen other people complain, well, there's no way that he healed that quickly. Well, we don't know how much time passed,
and we don't know how much time passed, and we don't know how severely. I mean, well, I guess it was there how bad he was burned, but it wasn't like Anakin.
It wasn't like Anakin,
right? We'll say worse than Luke, but not as bad as Anakin. How's that? Is that good? Is that fair? We good? Everybody's fine?
We good.
So, again, and I touched on this last week. Here we have Kenobi, and people were saying, oh, design or the story doesn't sound like Star Wars. Here we go. Hi, Grant. Was waiting on a medical droid, waking him as an ESB with Luke. Yeah. So, that being said, now I lost my train of thought. Like I said last week, we've got Obi-Wan now going. People are saying, this doesn't feel like Star Wars. This doesn't seem like Star Wars. The writing's bad or whatever. And I'm looking at it deeper than that. And this is the essence. This show is the essence of Star Wars. This is the hero's journey. Obi-Wan Kenobi is on his hero's journey, much like Luke was in A New Hope. You've got the farm boy, and I need to stay here and help my uncle, but I really want to go out and do something. And then when the opportunity arises, I'm like, no, I need to stay in my safe zone. And then he's forced into it. Aunt and uncle are killed. And there's Chewie. I was wondering about that.
Chewie.
So, this is Obi-Wan on his hero's journey. At this point now, I mean, we're 3 episodes in. We're 4 episodes in. We're over halfway through. we've only got 2 left, which is really sad. But anyway, but I've seen a lot of stuff now, and I haven't looked into it, but I will. That maybe they've confirmed a second season. Are they going to do another one?
I have not. I've
I haven't
seen
found
those.
anything concrete on that. But
Yeah,
I've seen.
Disney or Lucasfilm, as far as I know, has not confirmed that. I would ride that train.
I would. I'd be all over it.
Yeah, more.
You get Hayden and Ewan back? Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would have no complaints. I seen something interesting. I don't know how true it is, but they were saying that each episode has paralleled each of the movies
Oh, really?
in some shape or form. So, like in episode 1, they showed Luke doing the pod racing thing
Oh,
for
okay.
part 1. So that parallels with Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace,
And then Attack of the Clones, you had the clone trooper. In episode or part 3, we had them fighting and Ewan getting dragged through the fire, so that's Revenge of the Sith. So this episode was New Hope with the rescue of Leia.
Oh, hey.
And then the next episode, which I'm speculating,
Empire. We got Empire coming up next.
Well, yes. Well, we kind of got the snow speeders there at the end, the T-47s. But I was thinking
that's not fair though. They crammed 2 movies into one.
Well, in relation to Empire Strikes Back, I was thinking Ewan would or Kenobi would finally connect with Qui-Gon. Just like Luke did with Yoda.
Okay, so you brought that up. Now what if Ewan or what if Kenobi does some kind of force link or force telepathy with Yoda, and Yoda does a small cameo in this next episode?
I was thinking Qui-Gon. He finally makes a connection with Qui-Gon.
You know what? Honestly, and the way it's going, it would not surprise me. Is like the very, very end of episode 6 shows Kenobi sitting in his cave or whatever, and he's meditating. He's one with the Force now. They're not one with the Force, but he is back in the Force now. He's been through this adventure. He's back to being the Obi-Wan that we know and love, and he's sitting there meditating. And then you hear, you don't see all well, maybe you do see. Maybe you just see the back of a Force ghost, and you hear Liam Neeson's voice, Obi-Wan.
I don't think we'll see a Force ghost. I think we will definitely hear his voice because he never finished his training as to how to become a Force ghost. Unless you can train while you're dead. I don't know.
While you're part of the Force?
Yeah. Hey, stranger things have happened.
The Empire will strike back with the tracker finding the base. Actually, funny enough, Empire has been all over like everything. You've had the probe droids in there. You've had the snow speeders. It's Empire remade. That's all.
So, anyways, I thought that was an interesting theory, and if that follows through to episode 5, I'm thinking we'll get, because he's definitely open to the Force now. I mean, he's been using it. He's been getting better. Still a little wonky, but yeah, I think now that he's open to the Force, he'll be able to connect with Master Qui-Gon.
And you could see that a lot too, just based on previous episodes. He's using the Force now. The whole water hallway thing was, hold it in and let them get away, and then run and speaking of which, all of that, to me, that just, for some reason, that whole scene with the water thing and him swimming into it and everything else, every time I'm watching it and I'm thinking Knights of the Old Republic. It's Knights of the Old Republic.
Somebody was saying,
for some reason, I'm just like, what?
Somebody was saying Fallen Order.
Oh, well, okay, fine.
I've never played it, but I've seen a few people on TikTok say that.
Okay. Well, now that makes sense because the what is it? The Inquisitor's castle, the Inquisitor base where they are. Apparently that, and again, I haven't played Fallen Order either, but that apparently made its first appearance in Fallen Order, and so now it's come to life on the big on the big screen. So Qui-Gon will admit something to Obi-Wan.
His missing brother.
Oh. No, what they ought to do is say, yes, Owen really was his brother. And then that way it makes the novel make sense, but that also makes Luke his nephew as well. Right? Something along that lines.
Don't make me think this hard this late at night.
and that means that Anakin and Obi-Wan were stepbrothers. You were my brother, Anakin, and I loved you.
It makes it even more heartbreaking.
Destroys it all. Okay.
So, what did you think of the interrogation of Leia?
Oh my God! I was just sitting there thinking to myself, there was a meme that came out for Mando season 2, and it was where Moff Gideon tells the troopers, go get some handcuffs that'll fit him. And somebody did this meme of, wait a minute, we're handcuffing a child? Are we bad guys? Are we doing the right thing? And they took Leia off. Okay, for starters, the third sister, gosh, I can't think of her name. It's
Reva.
Yeah. Holy smokes. She went in there, for starters, before the actual torture or whatever, but the just the interrogation, she was so good. I couldn't believe it. I mean, she was real nice and calm, and she really wanted Leia, and she really made me believe in, what we're doing is right. We're doing the right thing, and it's all good and everything else. And I'm just like, oh, she's evil. Oh,
I thought it was, and I could be wrong because maybe it'll come up sometime in the next 2 episodes, but I thought it was really kind of a missed opportunity for her to reveal that. I mean, because she was kind of given a little tiny bit of her backstory, like, I once had a droid, but it was taken away from me. And I don't know, she said something else too. And I was like, oh, are we finally going to find out that she was actually the youngling in the first episode, the opening scene? And then she didn't. So I was just like, well, there we go.
They gotta say, oh, that'll be the big reveal. So that'll be where it ties into Empire Strikes Back. The big I am your father reveal. This will be yes, she was the youngling you once knew.
Anyway, I thought that was a missed opportunity. And I thought maybe she was, because when she was trying to mind probe Leia, now this is where I had a little bit of a problem, but I don't know. But I mean, she's 10 years old. And in anything that I have ever read or whatever, she's never been, as far as I can remember, super strong in the Force. Okay. Either that or she's just never chosen to really use it that much. But I thought, okay, how is she? I mean, I know she does it when on New Hope, when, they have that interrogation probe, and
she will never consciously betray the rebellion.
Yeah. So, I mean, she was able to, get away with that. But I was just like, a 10-year-old, because Reva seems to be pretty handy, or she's able to do that pretty easily. So I'm just like,
and
was she not really trying that hard because she felt bad that it was a kid? But then again,
well, and some and this is something that has, and I'll probably get in trouble for it because I'm going to go on the defensive of Ray here.
oh my God, that's blasphemy.
No, but I mean,
not to me, but to other people.
Let's think about this. You've got someone who is talented in the Force. My thoughts are, someone is talented, they are going to start showing traits, and that was addressed in the prequel trilogy. You know, he can see things before they happen. It's a Jedi trait. Now, she's not going to be able to know exactly how to use it to the point of completely blocking the third sister. But I mean, even the third sister pulled back and said, "Wow, you're strong." Because I think that was just a natural instinct for her, to where she was blocking it, and she was able to do it because of her connection with the Force. I mean, let's face it, Leia is the spawn of the Chosen One. So,
and I wonder if she found out when she was mine. Well, no, she didn't. Never mind. Scratch that. I don't know where I was. I just had this argument with my son, and then yeah, never mind. Carry on. Move along.
At that point, I was wondering if senators' children had some sort of anti-interrogation training.
Possibly.
That's possible. Just because, I mean, and we know that Leia is involved with her father's work, and we know this from the first episode when she's there, and they're, we got to get her dressed, and you got to go hang out with your cousins and all this other stuff. So, let's see. She admits that Leia is strong. You think there is a link to yielding the Force if you are sensitive? Like, how could they sniff out Force sensitivity in other kids and not Leia? My son
brought that up.
My guess is that she has seen that, and she knows that now. Now, whether she acts on it or feeds the information to Vader or whatever.
But she had the perfect opportunity to reveal that they had Leia, and she didn't say one word.
Oh,
I can't remember her wording. Maybe she says, I let them go, but she could have been talking about Tala and Kenobi and not necessarily Leia.
Well, she had to let Leia go because
I meant in revealing to Vader that.
And she, again, it wasn't said, but come on, we know where that tracking beacon is. She says, "I'm tracking them. I've got a tracker on the ship." And Luke was sitting there telling me, he was like, how did she get a tracker on the ship? And because I think he even said, how do they know she even took the right ship? You know, they all look the same. And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, but she had that robot in her hand. So she, and then of course, it shows them on the ship and everybody's happy. And then it zooms up on that robot, and it's never really said that the robot's the tracker, but
it turns red. The lights are red and the lights are normally blue.
We all know that robot's bad now. So
bad robot.
So anyway, again, and again, another parallel to New Hope. We got to let them go, but there's a tracker on the ship.
That's where Vader got his idea.
We wanted them to escape so that we could put a tracker on the ship.
And I thought for a split second they were going to go super dark when they put Leia in that contraption thing, which I guess is also in Fallen Order, I believe. That torture thing. I don't know what it is. But I thought, wow, are they going to go there?
And they were locking her in and everything. And I'm just like, at what point do you as a stormtrooper not say, should we be doing this? This is a kid.
Well, it's either that or face the wrath of Vader, or the Grand Inquisitor.
Or the third sister. Not gonna lie, I thought she was BSing the tracker until Lola's light came on. Yep. So,
I don't know if
no,
you could BS Vader though.
yeah,
And live to tell about it.
no, that was pretty intense. And when she sat there and said, okay, she's not gonna tell us anything. Let's start the torture, and I'm just like, wow, really? You're just gonna? Oh my! And then they started putting her in and latching her in and everything. I'm like, oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that would have been super dark for
Yeah.
Star Wars.
But in the back of my mind too, I'm thinking, you know what? And this was a line from if you haven't seen the Family Guy take on all the Star Wars movies. I love the Family Guy take on the Star Wars movies. I think they're hilarious. But there was one scene where it was the scene in where they're in the asteroid field and they're all we're gonna crash into the asteroid field, and Peter, who is Han, looks at Lois, who is Leia, and says, we've got 3 or 4 of the main characters on this ship. I think we're gonna be okay. And I'm like, and this is the same thing that's happening here, to where it's like, oh, I don't want her to. She's gonna torture Leia. Okay, wait a minute. Leia's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine because she's gonna grow up and be in the rebellion and the resistance and everything else.
Yeah, look, the giant chicken's Boba Fett.
Love it. Love it. So
the heartbreaking scene. My heart dropped. I was like,
were you gonna cry?
I was. The Jedi tomb, well, Ben called it a tomb, but it's like a trophy room is what it is.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions going up on that one too. Is it a tomb? Is it a trophy room? Some people are saying that they're not dead. They're just in suspended animation because the Emperor is using them. This is where this is going to turn into the Emperor trying to clone himself, basically.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and I thought, man, that could work.
I mean,
because else, I don't know.
I was going to say they've touched on it in The Mandalorian. It hasn't been said in The Mandalorian, but you can look at it and go, oh, that's probably what they're doing. They need the blood of Grogu to continue on with cloning operations, and a Force-sensitive clone at that. So, anyway. Oh, we got more stuff. Hang on. Actually, Chris, you say that there in The Force Unleashed. Do you know what I'm talking about, Debbie? Did you play The Force Unleashed? Did you play that one?
No, I've read the books.
Okay. So in The Force Unleashed, there was one of the levels takes place on like this, I guess they mine carbon there for the carbon freezing process. There's a lot of carbon frozen people around. And apparently if you go up to one of them, there's one of them specifically, you got to go to one certain spot at one certain room, and Jar Jar is in a block of carbonite. So.
Well, I like what Grant says because that's where my mind went.
Jurassic Jedi.
Grant, me and you are on the same wavelength. But yeah, when they did a close up of Tara Snoop, I was like, no!
Okay, so a lot of people are going through this and looking and seeing if they can identify who the Jedi are. And so help me God, go back and watch it again. I would swear that I saw Plo Koon. Now, I could be completely way off base on this, but in the same token, I'm like, sure, why not? Why not? If it's a trophy room, why wouldn't
But wasn't he pretty much blown to smithereens?
He was shot down.
Well, I don't know about him, but I
He's
know
survivable.
somebody identified, which I didn't even know who this guy was, but Coleman Kaj, Kcaj,
Okay.
Coleman Kaj. He kind of has like a triangular head.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were like, I didn't see it myself. I must have missed it, but there was a black guy, a bald black guy, and they were like,
now I saw this
"Oh
one.
my God, Mace Windu!"
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God.
"No, he still has his hand."
Yeah, that's what everybody's been saying. Go look at it. He's got his hand. It's not Mace.
Unless he survived and he got a robotic one like Luke.
It's his brother, Ace Windu.
Mm. Yeah, but the other ones, I have a suspicion that one of them is probably what's his name? Recon. Shoot, what's his name? Hold on, I'm looking. Roken. That one of the ladies, because they weren't exactly dressed as a Jedi, they looked more civilian, but that one of them was his wife, because he kind of insinuated that she was force sensitive. I don't know if necessarily Jedi, but she was force sensitive, and that they were still able to hunt her down. So because they kind of focused on that person, and I was just like, ooh, maybe that's his wife.
Well, they focused on that one. They focused on that youngling for a while too, and
I got you covered.
Okay, go for it. Tell me.
That was one of the younglings in the opening scene.
From the opening scene. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm. That was my thought. Was okay. I've watched this one now. I got to go back and watch the first episode again just to see if that was.
Yeah, he was one of the in the credits. They have the name of two twins, and then in this episode, and then in the first episode, the same two names. So yeah, he was the youngling from the very first episode. And I'm like, I don't know how often Reva has to walk through there, but to walk through there and see her.
If that was her.
It was. Anyways,
okay.
To walk through there and actually.
Was in WandaVision. Okay.
And actually see your fellow Padawan or youngling or whatever for 10 years, gosh, how devastating is that?
Well, and I want to look at the third sister real quick. I don't think she wants what everybody thinks that she wants. I think it's and Vader even said something along the "Oh, you want to be the Grand Inquisitor." I don't think she wants that spot. I think there's something else that she wants. I don't know if it's I want my freedom or I want. I don't know. For some reason I just got this thought in my head to where I'm like, she doesn't want the Grand Inquisitor. She doesn't want any of that. And my guess is that it's going to be something big to where it's like I want to either go back to my family or I don't know.
Well,
I don't think it's a position.
Off the top of my head, I could think of two things. One, revenge. She's pissed at Kenobi because, none of the Jedi came back to get them.
Even though Kenobi did come back.
Or she's hoping Kenobi can help her get out. Just a thought. I don't know. There's got to be. I'm kind of like you. Well, if that's the truth, she's just living in fantasy world.
I was gonna say, if that's the truth, we know it's going to fail, and we know she will die.
That scene where he comes walking down. Vader comes walking down that hallway. I mean, you can just tell by the way he's walking. He is flipping pissed.
Vader,
And then
in
he
this,
just like, "Rawr," and he just throws her up in the air, choking her. Oh, I was like, oh, well, this is where she dies. Okay.
and again, it really it mirrored the Last Jedi, where he says, "Oh, you let him get away. Oh, don't worry, I've got him on a chain," and she's being choked, but Vader in this series, and I know it's been said to death, man, you knew he was a bad guy, but you didn't have to see it. You just knew. This is the biggest, baddest guy in the galaxy. He's running things, but now you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, did he just snap that guy's neck? Is he dragging that lady through the street? And then he storms in there and she goes up and I'm like, ah!
Yeah, I'm loving Vader at his peak.
Oh, it's
I
great.
think it's great. It's just, we read about it in the books, but, to actually see it in live action, it's awesome.
I laughed out loud about Vader being mad she let him get away. Like, dude, you let him get away in the last episode. Somebody said something about
It's a good one. I didn't even think of that.
I saw something about that too, because when she shot the stuff and it started the fire up and it separated Kenobi and Vader didn't come through the fire, and somebody said, you honestly think a man who was burned alive by lava and survived is not going to want a fireproof suit? Please. Vader had a fireproof suit. He could have just walked through those flames. You let him get away. So I don't know. She may just be, and maybe that's why she wanted to find the way, or not the way. Is it called the way? What
the
is
path?
It? The path. Maybe she wants to find the path so she too can escape.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there's going to be some kind of. It's not going to be what we obviously think it's going to be. I think there's going to be a twist to it somehow.
Maybe she's redeemable or becomes redeemed, which would be I'd be fine with that too.
Or and maybe she sacrifices herself.
Maybe.
And dies.
I was good in Rebels when oh gosh, what's his name? He was like the main Imperial in the first season of Rebels. And I haven't watched Rebels in a long time. So.
The blonde-haired dude?
Yeah. And he switched sides.
Karis?
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was a real jerk.
Stephanie says, I think maybe she's torn and will have her moment, but I have a feeling she's not going to have a happy ending. I think you're right. I've got a funny feeling that she will be one of these, she will be a tragic hero. She'll be the martyr, I'm gonna sacrifice it so you can get away kind of thing. Or I'm gonna put my faith in you that you can get me out of here, and then you can't really get me out of here and I die in the attempt. So I think she'll be one of those tragic heroes. I'm hoping so. That would be I'd like that. So we got the tomb. We got the dumb jacket thing. Her going in and helping Kenobi, she's got officer's clearance. She really showed her not dark side, but her empire. I mean, it reminded me of the scene in the Harry Potter movies where Hermione Granger changes into Bellatrix Lestrange and they go to the Gringotts vault. They go to the bank. Yeah. and I'm just thinking about that. And there was one scene where she says she passes somebody and she says, "Oh, good morning." And they look at her and say, "No, you've got to be more mean. This is Bellatrix Lestrange. You've got to be mean." And she really stepped up, and she got in there, and she was like, "Look, I got info. Do you know what classified means?" I mean, she looked like she was getting ready to fold, and then all of a sudden something snapped in her, and she got belligerent and mean, and you looked at her and said, "Oh, okay. She's an Imperial officer. She's got to be because she acts like one."
Now, I had a problem with the scene where she's at the console talking to Kenobi, trying to, opening the doors underneath the water or whatever. And the Imperial dude approaches her and says, "This is not your designated spot or whatever.
Yeah.
Come follow me." And then, I mean, they just go behind a wall and there's a scuffle. I don't know if she
Like there were other people in that room.
Yes. And then you can hear the little communicator thing, which kind of goes back to New Hope, where 3PO did the same thing when him and R2 were in the thing. And you can hear, wait, I'm trying to think of my sequence. Luke and them are in the trash compactor, or they're almost to the trash compactor. Anyways, the stormtroopers are getting ready to come into that room. R2 and C-3PO hide in that little storage closet, and he leaves the communicator on the desk. And
how did Luke know to be quiet? Oh,
and I'm like, nobody else in the room is hearing that. So that was kind of I had a little issue with that.
I did too. I don't think it had to do with, a lot of people would look at it and go, "Oh, well, it's a girl and a girl can't overpower a guy," and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whatever. I don't need to hear all of that right now, but.
And I thought she was done for.
There was at least one other person in the computer room. He's just pretending not to notice.
Maybe he had earbuds in.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was watching the TikTok.
He's watching YouTube videos. I thought I thought this was going to be like her death scene when Reva confronts her. Well, actually, Tala's the one that kind of saves Leia because she, interrupts Reva.
Right. I need a distraction.
Yeah. Important information. And, Reva's not quite believing her. And I thought, oh boy, is she going to take her out? Which also that room, did you notice they had all the Jedi lightsabers on the shelves?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Well,
not sad, but cool.
What do they do? They hunt Jedi. Those are trophies.
Another trophy room.
I get it. It's like, again, I'm going to touch back on Force Unleashed here. In that video game, Starkiller was a hunter of Jedi. That's what he did. Was he hunted Jedi for Vader. And the way that he would prove to Vader that he had slain said Jedi was he bring him their lightsaber. So here he's gone. Here's his lightsaber. That way you know for sure that he's out of it. So
and another issue I had, and that's relating to the hallway water scene, which was kind of cool because we've seen, Obi-Wan's getting his groove on. He's using his lightsaber now, and he uses the Force, although it looked like he was struggling a little bit. But he's getting back into his groove.
Yeah, the muscle memory's kicking back in.
But when he lets the water break and it wipes out everybody, and he's running towards the door, and you can see all that water is like right at his heels, and he gets through the door. They close the door, but the floor is dry.
You know what? If you're going to go that far, I'm going to throw this one out too. So before all of that even happens, he swims up to the door. He comes out of the pool And his hair is just like a little damp, and his clothes are dry. And I'm like, oh no, sir, you would be sopping wet. You would be making noise as you walk,
Maybe he had
dripping all over the place.
maybe he had a thing, I don't know what it was, in Back to the second Back to the Future, where it
Captain is
automatically
drying.
dries you. Oh, yeah.
So yes, let's not nitpick about continuity errors. Yes, you're
But
right.
it's the
floor
same
wasn't
thing
wet.
with A New Hope. When they come out of the trash compactor, Luke's been underwater,
Yep, and his hair's dry.
and yeah, and then they come out, and he's all dry. So-
Maybe that stormtrooper helmet had a blow dryer in it. Dry my hair.
Oh, just little things. And
Again, let's not get hung up on continuity errors. Okay, yes, I will agree with you. It's a bit annoying, but
I don't know if they did this stuff to kind of like give nods, to the maybe some of the silly stuff in the other movies. Maybe, I don't know.
maybe they're Easter eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, Easter eggs, and maybe we'll find out. Maybe they'll say something when they do their gallery show that they
They do it every. Yeah, they did it. They've done it for
yeah,
the last couple of seasons of Mando, and then
yeah. So yeah, maybe they'll say something there. Who knows? Because everybody's like up in arms, and everybody's been bitching. I'm not bitching. I'm just saying I just have little issues with it.
Let them. Here's my thing to all the naysayers out there and the ones that are, it's destroying it. Let them finish telling their story. Let them finish telling the story, and then you can complain about it. If there's something to complain about. Yes, that was the plan all along.
And my issue is, and I've seen it said several times, and I have to agree, which my oldest son will probably be mad at me, but everybody blames Disney. But the thing is, it's Lucasfilm. They're the ones
It's
that
not
are
Disney. I mean, it is.
They throw the money at them,
Yeah.
but it's Lucasfilm who are doing these stories. They're the ones coming up with the stories. I mean, it's just like Marvel, Disney. They just throw the
Disney's
money
doing
at them and
Marvel.
say,
No,
"This is
not
what you need to
really.
do. Here's the money. Go do your thing."
Yeah, you know what to do. Go do it. It's its own entity. It's an entity within an entity. That the bigger entity is just feeding the smaller one, but the smaller one is what's actually producing or creating. So,
But you'll never convince people.
my thought is in people cursed the day in 2012 when they said, "Oh, Disney bought Star Wars. Disney bought Star Wars." And I look at it as that's great. That's just friggin' great, because you know what? We weren't getting anything from Lucas, and we weren't getting anything from Lucasfilm. Lucas had said at the end, he did the prequel trilogy. He's like, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm not making any more Star Wars. There's not going to be any Star Wars stuff." The only thing we
And
had
why?
was the Clone Wars. We had the Clone Wars.
Why?
Because all the fans were tearing him up.
Exactly.
Teasing him off the thing. So
Because people hated the prequels for the most part.
yeah.
Now they're like beloved.
Oh yeah.
But
In
back
fact,
then, I mean, I loved them back then, but a lot of people were like, what the hell was he thinking? Da 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 da. And this sucks, and
the
you
dialogue
ruined
is
my
terrible.
childhood. I don't know.
Yeah. Now my thought is, and I look at it and as the people that that complain about the prequels are the people that now think the prequels are great, but they complain about the sequel trilogy. And eventually there's going to be another trilogy made to where people will look back at the sequel trilogy as beloved, and the new trilogy will be awful and terrible and tearing up Star Wars and blah 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 blah. But I'm also looking at these people too and realizing these are the people that are like you and me. We grew up on the original trilogy, but the original trilogy was so revered and beloved that it's almost like don't touch the original trilogy. Nothing's going to touch it, and we don't want to add to or subtract from the original trilogy. So basically anything out of what was in that original trilogy is like it's wrong. It's not Star Wars because it's not part of the original
It's
trilogy.
sacred. But yeah, kind of sometimes I kind of wonder if the internet had been around back then. if it had been so sacred.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thought. You know what? I'm glad Disney bought them. I'm glad Disney's throwing money at them because guess what? We get more Star Wars to talk about. I mean, weekly now. We're getting TV shows. We got Mando 3 coming up. We got Andor coming up. We got Acolyte coming up. We got Ahsoka coming up. And I think all of that's like this year. So, maybe not Acolyte. I think it's just Andor and Ahsoka this year. And then
one of them will be early next year, I believe.
I think on comicbook.com even they said that Star Wars Visions is getting another run. Which I'm going to be honest with you, I saw the first 3. I haven't seen the last 3. So I'm only halfway through, and anime is just not really my cup of tea. So it's hard for me.
It was all right, but it's not my cup of tea.
And that's
I watched all of them, but I think there's only one episode that I really liked, and I think it might have been.
It's like the second one, the black and white, where he.
No, it was the brother and sister.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the one I liked. The other ones really didn't care for, so wasn't my cup of tea.
Well,
I'll watch the second season when it comes out, but again,
that's the beauty part about Star Wars is there are things that I love. You know, I love the movies, love the TV shows. Not a big fan though of Resistance. That
one was
was not geared toward me. You know, that was very obviously we want to turn this on Saturday mornings with a bowl of cereal and let the 6-year-old watch it, and at least he's getting inducted into Star Wars. And that's the beauty of Star Wars is that really there's something for everyone. But what we need to avoid is saying things like, "Oh, well, you like the sequel trilogy. You're not a true Star Wars fan because the sequel trilogy was awful." You can't say that. I enjoyed. They're not my favorites, but I did enjoy the sequel trilogy. Does that mean I'm not a Star Wars fan? This has been one of my big pet peeves. I actually got called not a Star Wars fan because I enjoyed the sequel trilogy.
I enjoyed parts of it. I can't say. Force Awakens. Well, that's my ultimate favorite. The second one, when I watch it, I skip through Canto Bright. And then the third one was more emotional. The third one was more emotional for me. So, yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm 50-50 on the sequels. There's parts I love, and then there's parts I could really do without.
I think you're right. Part of me thinks the staying power of the prequels is in the meme.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
And that's a big one. That's one of the big ones.
And there are some great prequel memes. And they still come out with them today. So, the prequels were eons ago, and they're still coming out with some great memes. So,
beautiful.
Oh, I wish I was that creative, but I'm not.
Okay, we are right at an hour. Do you have anything else for us for episode 4? Yeah, episode 4.
I did almost cry at the final scene. You know, they escape. They're in the, not the snow speeder, but Roken's big ship, and Leia and Ben are just sitting there, and she
holds his hand.
She just puts her tiny little hand on his, and I was just like, oh, and the look on his face, and I was just like, oh, it was just such a tender moment. It kind of brought out, I shouldn't say brought out, but it, you know, the motherly part of me. I was just like, oh, that's just so sweet. And you could tell at such a young age that not only is she like Princess, or like Carrie Fisher,
Right.
but she's also like Padme.
And I thought of this the other day, and it's kind of stuck with me, and maybe you'll agree with me, or maybe you'll just think I'm crazy. But in A New Hope, I watched A New Hope, and we hardly knew ye.
My daughter's on a roll tonight.
I'm telling you, she's tearing it up. So anyway, what if, or not what if? This is, I watched A New Hope earlier this week, just because I felt like watching A New Hope, and Leia refers to Obi-Wan Kenobi twice by name in that movie. The first time is in the hologram when she says General Kenobi. You know, years ago you fought with my father in the Clone Wars, blah, 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 blah. And the second time is when Luke is rescuing her from her cell, and he says, I'm here with Ben Kenobi. Ben Kenobi? Where is he? Now,
yeah, she knew exactly
who he was. She knew, oh my God, it's Ben Kenobi again. Let's go. Woohoo! Now to me, I know George Lucas back in 1975 when they filmed that scene was not thinking, oh, well, 40 some odd years from now, we're going to have a show about Ben Kenobi and how he was younger, and we're going to have a young Leia, and she's, but it ties together so well. And again, the creative powers behind this show they've done their homework. They have done their homework, and they know the buttons to push. And especially for me, that was just like, oh, she said Ben Kenobi, and she got excited, and
exactly. I mean, it's such a small moment from New Hope, and you know, we didn't think anything about it when Luke says, you know, Kenobi or Ben Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi, yeah.
And you know, we didn't think anything about her just getting right up, but you would think, well, who the hell's Ben Kenobi? You know, that's what, if I didn't know who Ben Kenobi was, that would be my reaction. It would be like, who the hell's Ben Kenobi?
I mean,
and why are you here?
She had called him previously. She had called him General Kenobi, which again, she has asked him in this series now, you were a Jedi Knight, which means that she probably realizes that he was at one time a general. So she probably knew who she was going after in A New Hope, who she was trying to get the plans to.
Well, that and the fact that if somebody, if the Imperials or Vader did intercept that message, she wasn't exactly giving him away.
Yeah.
By saying Ben Kenobi. She stuck with General Kenobi.
General. It was a formal title.
Yeah. So, you know, it could be looked at as a bit of a stretch, but it fits.
It fits. No, it fits, and it's beautiful.
It fits. It's perfect.
It's like Spider-Man and Iron Man 2. I know if
it's
Chris
like
was
poetry.
Watching,
it rhymes.
It rhymes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Anything else? We good for episode 4? Ready for episode? Any predictions for episode 5? You want to see Qui-Gon. We already talked about this.
Yeah. See, here. I don't think we'll see. I think we'll hear Qui-Gon. I'm trying to think what other nods or things that could happen in regards to Empire. But I'm still hoping we see Quinlan Voss.
I want to see Quinlan Voss. But
Some people thought he was one of the people in the tomb thing, but I'm like, but he doesn't have the stripes on his face. And he looked too big or something. I don't know. He didn't look proportion to what I've seen.
I saw something too on either TikTok or YouTube this week too, to where it said something like Quinlan Voss was mentioned in episode 3 of Kenobi, blah blah blah. But if you go back to the movie episode 1, The Phantom Menace, there's a scene where he's actually like in the crowds. I think it was at the pod races.
He's sitting where Jar Jar gets the frog or whatever it was.
He's sitting in the background.
Yeah, he's sitting in the background.
So he's already been big screen. So yeah, just get over it.
So yeah, I mean, I might be setting my expectations high, but I
wouldn't complain about it.
I'm really hoping.
Uh-oh. Hang on just 1 second. Hey John,
guys.
How's it going?
Going well. How are you?
I'm good. We're actually just wrapping up. I'm sorry.
Oh, I missed it. All right.
That's okay.
Sorry, I was serving our corporate pizza overlords.
Okay, so real quick, just a real quick, give me just like a 5-minute. What did you think of episode 4? Now let me back up a little bit. What have been your thoughts? Because you weren't here for the first 3 episodes, so far overall.
Overall, I will say I like the series. I really do. I find it to be entertaining. A lot of people think it lacks action, but I don't need action to enjoy a show. It is getting a little too far out of canon for my taste. Some things are happening where it's like, how did this happen later on in the series if this is how it goes?
Such as?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. My wife's stomping on the floor. Well, apparently in episode 3, I have to speak a little quieter. I'm sorry. In episode 4, Darth Vader hadn't seen Obi-Wan in 40 years, and now they're dueling, and Darth Vader's burning him alive. So, there's just some inconsistencies.
He wasn't burning him alive. He was torturing him.
That is true.
He was
toying with him. He was playing with him.
Yeah. But inadvertently, they did add something to canon, and it is kind of inadvertently explained as to why Leia named her son after Ben Kenobi. So, they kind of explained that one, because that was kind of weird when you watched The Empire. I'm sorry, episode 7.
Right.
I always get the names mixed up.
Force Awakens.
And like Han Solo didn't give a crap about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Why is he naming his kid after him?
Oh, you mean that old fossil? How did you dig up that old fossil?
What I will say about Star Wars as a whole is, I was talking about this with a buddy the other day, is it's like my version of the prodigal son. They'll do right, they'll do wrong. It always comes back, and you always give it a chance, and you're always accepting it. And it's kind of like there's no other franchise that does that. Like Indiana Jones made one bad movie, and it's like, go away, Indiana Jones. I'm never watching you again. But Star Wars,
I did not say that.
For some reason, Star Wars, you always give it a chance, and I'm willing to ride the series out. I have some reservations. You saw what I wrote about it. I was very optimistic about it going in, and I remain optimistic.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. I personally think with the first 4 episodes, I'd like to see how they wrap it up, because it's like it climaxed in episode 3. So how are they going to close the season out when they already had the duel we were all waiting for?
Ooh, I think there's
No,
another
no, no, no,
coming.
no. I think the duel we were all waiting for
He's coming
is they no, 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 no. I don't even think that. I think that the
What?
duel. No, I think
Yes.
that's all. I think that's all it needed. I think that's exactly.
I'm calling
what-
it right now.
Well,
You're gonna go again.
going back to the canon thing, I don't know if you spoke about this earlier. Sorry for coming in so late. The Grand Inquisitor can't be dead.
He's not.
He can't be because doesn't
'cause he's
Rebels
Rebels.
take place? Rebels takes place after.
My thought on that one is that either one, like Debbie said last week, to where that particular species has 2 stomachs. One of them is skewered. He's still fine. He's just out of it for a little while.
He's in a back the tank.
Also, something I'm thinking too on this one is that the Inquisitor that we had in Rebels is a different Grand Inquisitor than what we had in Kenobi. She actually
That could be
did.
possible.
So
She
you think-
actually did kill this one, but now another one from Rebels has come in to replace him.
so you
And
think
wouldn't it
the-
be awesome if it was Jason Isaacs?
Jason Isaacs. Whoa!
So you,
I would crap my pants.
so you think they're kind of like a race like the Wookiees or Ewoks, where they all look similar? And another guy's going to come in?
I don't know. Maybe not a race, but more of a.
Species?
We needed something to. We needed a dramatic element there. We needed something, and plus that would, to me, that would be so in the face of all the fans that were, when they saw him on the preview, oh, it's wrong, he's got the wrong kind of head, and blah 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 blah, and his head's, it's round and it should be pointed, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, give it a minute.
I know.
You just saw a preview. Give it time. Let them tell their story.
And who knows?
then
Does
complain
that
about it.
species? Do they all look exactly the same, or maybe he's a hybrid of that species and a human,
Yeah,
or another species, or whatever?
it could be. What I will say, I think the 2 surprising things. The best thing about the show isn't even Obi-Wan. Leia is awesome.
Leia's amazing.
I
She's spicy.
I love that. I love her as a character because she's exactly like, I could imagine Carrie Fisher being like that as a little kid. So that was like great casting there. And Moses Ingram is just amazing. I really hope they don't kill her off yet. Obviously, she's not in the future, but
Right.
I hope she has a good run because she plays such a good villain.
We talked about this a little bit last week, and one of the things that I enjoyed, well, I say I enjoyed, but when the first episode I watched it, and I'm just like, I don't like her. I don't like this character. I have nothing to like about this character. And as it went on, I'm like, I'm not supposed to like this character.
Yeah.
She's the bad guy. She's brilliant. She's pulling it off. She is convincing me that I don't like her. Yes, this is what
It's like when you watch. There's a if you've ever watched war movies. I don't know if you like war movies at all. There's a movie called Casualties of War that starred Sean Penn.
and Michael J. Fox.
He was such an awful human being, and you're watching the movie and you're like, I cannot find a reason to redeem this guy, and that's not the point.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. You're not supposed to
Supposed to
redeem.
be a vile person. So yeah, it's along the same line. That she is just such like, if I wrote, I'd nominate her for an award. Like, she's doing a great job with that role.
Yeah. So
I thought the creepiest thing about it was the Museum of Dead People. I don't know if that was necessary. I thought they could have made it a jail or maybe
no, because it, and maybe that's too, because had it been a jail, or maybe if it had been suspended animation, I think Obi-Wan's Jedi instincts would have kicked in at that point. and we need to rescue all of them. So I'm thinking, now that you've said it like that, now I'm thinking, okay, that probably was a tomb. They're probably all dead.
And the thing is, it just shows how dark the Empire is willing to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Somebody posted, it's like General Grievous collected trophies. He collected the lightsabers from the Jedi he defeated, and now the Inquisitors are collecting trophies. The
Yeah,
Jedi
that was their trophy
but
room.
they're keeping literally the Jedi that they defeated.
You know what never settled me about General Grievous is that all the other drones were inept. Why didn't they just all design the droids like him?
Because that would have made sense.
It's like, all right, we have this really good one. Let's make the rest of them idiots now.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry I was so late.
No worries. No
All
worries.
right.
Glad you were here. Next week, episode 5, Kenobi. We're almost done. Almost done with Kenobi. We don't want to be, but we are almost done. Don't forget that Friday night, or not this coming Friday, next coming Friday, if you're in the Dallas area and you want to come hang out with us at Fan Expo, come on down. We're all going to get together. We're going to have a big dinner. We're going to eat, and it's going to be amazing. And come join us. Come sit and chat and talk with us. It's going to be great. Also, check out rippedapparel.com. Enter the code GNN for 10% off your order. That is it for us. We will see you all next week, and may the